Welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice. We're recording this a second time. Somehow that seems appropriate. You've seen this deck before, but if you read the comments for the last time it appeared, you're going to know that it wasn't quite right. It needed a little something else, and you'll get to see that come into play here. We are, of course, playing with two specific combos. We're playing with Sanguine Blood and Exquisite Blood. We're also playing with Phyrexian Unlife as well as Solemnity. You want to get those combos on the board as fast as possible. There's a backup win condition in here now that makes it just a little bit more consistent for me, and that, of course, is Approach of the Second Sun. We don't stray far when we've got something that works. So the idea here is the only time you really need to be concerned is if you see you're up against a red-blue deck. We're up against life gain right now, and we don't really care about that too much. Certainly because we have the Phyrexian Unlife in our hand from the beginning. What's important about that is if you get that on the board and you suffer a lethal combat hit from all of their creatures, doesn't matter. You don't collect those poison counters until the next turn. So you've got one good shot that you can take as far as combat damage goes. You just have to worry that they have some other way of getting those poison counters on you afterwards. But since we have Solemnity down the board, it doesn't matter. The most important thing to do with this deck, though, is get your enchantments out as quickly as you can. Keep them protected if you can. And you're going to be able to draw more mana. You're going to be able to also tutor the cards that you need. Let's see if we take that big hit right now. They've got us down to 1. As long as I have 1 life at the beginning of combat on this turn, it's not going to matter that they're going to overshoot the mark and get me to negative something, because that's not going to happen just yet. We'll drop this on the board. I like to keep my Lord in my hand until absolutely necessary to cast it. But since we have Hexproof already on the field, feeling pretty well protected there. Back up to 3 life. Doesn't really matter, though, unless they have multiple ways of dealing damage to us. And since they rely primarily on combat damage, I'm going to take that big hit right now, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah. We're going to take that hit. They're not committing everything. That's okay. They've got me down to -1. And there is my alternative win condition. Right now, though, I'm going to drop this on the board. And, yeah, let's cast this for the first time. It's the second time that it needs to resolve, but, sometimes they just see that Approach of the Second Sun and they know to get in and get their Sunshade. So, we're going to move on to the next one. Let's see how this next one goes. And if we're going to draw our initial win con, which is Sanguine Blood, Exquisite Blood, or are we going to rely on that Approach of the Second Sun? Either way, I think we have a very good example of, first of all, we're going to play our first turn play. We have a second turn play. We don't have to play exactly on curve here, but if we can, starting with the second, third turns, we have a pretty good shot of taking home the win here. Up against Life Gain Death Touch. All right, luckily I'm not leaning into combat damage. This gives me more mana to potentially cast next turn. Another reason why you want those enchantments out on the board as fast and as furious as you possibly can. All right. And they're going to be taking away our life too. Don't be afraid to use your life as a resource, though, especially if it gets you more cards. We're going to get this on the board, gain a little bit of that life back, and more importantly, we have card draw. Let's also draw even when we don't have anything to put back in our hand. Again, we're looking for combo pieces and we need to be quick. Don't be afraid of Gaea's Blessing for nothing but the card draw. It can be worth it in the long run. Again, we're playing Approach of the Second Sun, so we might draw deeper in to get to that 7th one. That is not good. Though, I don't have to block it. That is, put me on a 3-turn clock, though. Let's get the rest of our combo pieces out there. And dig, dig, dig. Drop this on the board. Can't cast it. Can't rather cycle it. And let's just make this a big monstrosity. Pay attention to the amount of enchantments that you have, as well as the amount of mana you can produce with the lands that you have. You're going to want at least 6 to get your combo off in a single turn to protect yourself. But you should worry more about the mana that you have, I'd say, than your life total. If that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. Boom. That's a big hit. And that, too, is going to be a big hit. I think we can let it go, though. I'm still at 1 life. Sometimes 1 life is all you need. Let's protect what we have. It's going to draw us a card or 2, gain us a life. And, all right. I need to tutor. No? Can't quite decide. Getting a little bit of more mana on the field. And, yeah, I'm going to tutor. And this is game over. Going to have a little bit of fun with it. Let's put this land on the battlefield. And then we'll do this. I am, of course, counting my mana. Make sure I can draw everything I need. Though I think I have my winning solution in my hand. Let's do black here. This gets on the board. But I still need to have 1 more enchantment to cast to put me over the top. So 4 life, now 5 life. Now they lose life. Gain a life, lose a life, gain a life, lose a life, gain a life, lose a life. Game over. A little bit more consistently. Now these are 3 games that were played back to back. And can't win them all, but can definitely put a very, very valiant effort in here. All right, the next one is... What do we think they're playing? Land? This is a pretty fair to middling open in hand. Plenty of mana. Plenty of enchantments to get that mana train rolling. All right. Go ahead, and as always... Actually, not always. We're actually going to take the hit, and we're going to get this going. Normally, I would have thrown out a tapped card, but it's worth it to get your mana that you can spend as quick as possible. For example, let's put this down tapped, but I still... Actually, there's nothing there to use that on. That's okay. I do have a way of stopping whatever they put down, though, so that's good. That is not good. Not good for me, anyway. I do not like seeing that, because that means they're going to encroach upon my domain. My domain is enchantments. I don't like other people that play enchantments. That's not true. I like all kinds of people. I don't like seeing them in the game, though. So with that, I'm going to get rid of this as soon as possible. Buy myself a little bit more time. Put this on the board. Tapped. We're going to drop this on the board to protect my creatures. Again, I don't want to play them out without having a way to protect them, without at least having hexproof on them. They can still make me sack a creature with something for Shieldreds. This... Ooh, that's... well, I did lead off by saying that you can't win them all, right? I can get this down. I can tutor for a card. I already have the Phyrexian Unlife in my hand. But with just 3 mana in a single turn, how big can they possibly build that up? What are they stalling for? Is that just a game? Okay, yep. So that gets big. Bigger. There's the land that they probably just drew. Even bigger. Drawn into another card. And, ouch. That will be a painful hit. So, with that, oh yeah, that's not good. Well, I prepared you in a soft way by letting you know that you can't win them all. This deck is not infallible. And one big hit like that with no way to stop it, very sad. But, you know, it wasn't quite enough to kill us. And therefore, I think it's game over, man. All right. Drop this onto the board. And, yeah, that's it. Their turn. Provided they do not have enchantment removal, straight up just disenchant enchantment. What are you doing? Don't roll over my land. Only I'm allowed to do that with Goblin Bombardment or Haphazard Bombardment. That's it. As long as I don't have to sack any permanents, I think I'm okay with that. There you go. Game over. So yeah, this deck has become a lot more consistent. So thanks for taking the time to watch. Like, comment, subscribe. Look forward to some cool stuff that we have coming up here. As always, follow us on Tibalt_Apprentice on Instagram to keep up with what's happening on a more daily basis. You can look forward to cards that will be going into my store, Dark Ritual, onto TCG Player there, and other cool things on a daily basis. And look for the YouTube videos as follow a couple a week. Arena gameplay, deck techs, and combos for Commander. In the meantime, thanks for watching.